So the concept of financial independence is pretty straightforward. It's having enough money saved, invested, and made in order to cover your living expenses on a day-to-day basis, so that way you can live completely financially free. And for me, I've worked on this in several different avenues. I've done things like worked a 9-to-5 job in order to accumulate enough money to then use for a down payment and invest in real estate. I've also invested in the stock market. And I've done things like create side hustles and even businesses to help accelerate my path towards financial freedom. And let me just level set with you here for a minute. I've made several mistakes when it comes to building my wealth and my financial freedom journey that, I love to just share and talk about openly with you guys, so that way no one has to make the same mistakes that I do. But at the end of the day, I keep circling back to this one, concept, the idea that started the whole thing for me, and that is dividend investing. Now, this is my very favorite form of completely passive income. You see, the other stuff that I've been doing, investing in real estate, that for the rest of my days is going to take some management from myself, unless I built out the team in order to, there's just a lot of stress that comes with it, and it's completely different than actually just putting your money into something like the stock market and then being able to brush your hands and walk away and continue making money without doing anything else. Now, it is definitely my goal to one day be able to have my dividend income completely cover my living expenses aside from all the other work that I'm doing, so that way, just off of dividend income alone, I could live financially free. And in order to get there, I think it's very essential to understand how much you need invested. So I want to cover that right here. First, I'm going to explain an equation that tells you exactly how much money you need invested today in order to achieve your goals. But then I'm going to drill down and make it a little bit easier and show you exactly how you can achieve this goal. This equation is super straightforward. All you need to do is add all of your expenses that you incur in a month: your mortgage, your rent, your utilities, groceries, gas, car payment, whatever it is that you want to offset with your dividend income. You add it all up for the month, you multiply it by 12 to get the total income you're trying to replace, and then all you're going to do is divide it by the dividend yield of your investments. I linked a bunch of my investment accounts up with trackyourdividends.com in order to identify the exact portfolio yield that I have, which is about 2.86%. Now, let's say for the sake of this example, I wanted to offset about $50,000 of income. Now, the equation again is really straightforward. All I'm doing is taking 50,000 divided by 0.0286, and you'll realize that with this current portfolio yield, it would take about $1.75 million in order to completely offset that income. But don't worry, that's not entirely accurate. I remember the first time that I heard that $1.75 million valuation, I wanted to throw up, and you probably feel the same way, and trust me, it's a lot more attainable than you think. Because here is a simple calculator that is going to show you the effects of leaving your money in the market over time. So let's say you initially start with an investment of $1,000, and you decide that you're going to contribute $1,000 every single month from here on out. Well, it would take you about 30 years at a 9% interest to have $1.845 million invested. And if you look at the numbers here, you'll notice that your total principal, meaning the amount that you've actually invested out of your pocket, is $361,000. And you actually have made off of that investment $1.48 million. And you've now hit that goal of replacing $50,000 in passive income. Now, this again isn't necessarily perfect because there's also external factors such as inflation that are going to affect your portfolio. But let's say over time you start making more money and you can then invest more money. Well, you can definitely get to your goals a heck of a lot quicker as you start putting more and more money into the market. The earlier you can do it, the better. Now, real quickly in my journey, I've set myself up to be in a pretty unique position because with a rental property that offsets pretty much the entire mortgage that I have, my living expenses on a month-to-month basis is about $820. Multiplying that by 12, I only need about $9,840 annually in order to offset, a majority of my living costs. I want to get a bit more heavy into SCHD, which has a dividend yield of about 3.48%. And so you'll notice that the actual amount that I need invested is $282,000, a little bit more than that, which is just absurd to think about. Now, if it is your number one goal to be able to retire off of dividend income and live completely passively, then there's a lot of things that you could consider in order to get there a little bit quicker. I think for me, I was in a fortunate position where I could jump onto real estate to cut my costs quite significantly. And though it took a large upfront investment, over the period of time that I hold the property, it's going to pay off. But prior to that, I was living at home and I was saving as much money as possible. And then I had roommates as I moved out. And I did everything that I possibly could to keep my spending as low as possible to unlock the limits and put more money into the stock market and get closer to my goals. The really cool thing about my $30,000 portfolio is that every single month for the rest of my life, I'll still get paid from this no matter what. So you can see that in August, I'll be paid $39. In September, I'll be paid $124. And as I continue reinvesting into this portfolio, those numbers will continue to grow and I'll be making so much more passively. Now, if you look at the future value of this portfolio, you can do some pretty cool things here. Now, let's assume that I'm not investing anything back into this portfolio. We're just going to let the market appreciate. Well, 25 years from now, this portfolio is going to go from about $30,000 all the way up to $144,188. And without adding any additional money into the market, my initial dividends will be $939 annually, and I'll end with $5,415. Now, let's just say for the sake of this investment portfolio, I put in $12,000 every single year. Well, what happens in 25 years from now is the ending value of this portfolio is going to be $793,000. And my starting annual income from those dividends that I'm receiving is, again, $939, but it ends at $28,556. So it really does, it takes some time to get to where you want to be with these portfolios. But once you're there, every year after this, I'm pretty much going to be paid close to $30,000 on the trajectory that this is on. Now, again, it's making some assumptions, but this is typically the historical results of what the stock market is showing. The last thing to consider with dividend investing is what account you're investing in. You want to make sure that you're taking advantage of tax advantage accounts such as a Roth IRA, where your money is going to grow completely tax-free. You see, if you have a dividend account that's just a regular individual portfolio, you're going to receive payments and you're going to get taxed on those payments. However, in a Roth IRA, you could receive those payments and you could reinvest them without having to pay a tax. So that's just one thing to consider. I have a ton of videos out on Roth IRA investing, and there's a lot of resources out there. If you guys have any questions, never hesitate to reach out to me directly on Instagram. I'd be happy to connect with more people and talk through any of this stuff. Thank you so much for checking out this video, guys, and have a great day.